Blog Talk Radio.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started. And you heard my pre-recorded voice tell you to let's get this show started. So let's get this show started. I am Hector G. Gomez from Hanford, California, here with Tercilio Cruz from Brazil, Ben Capocci from the UK. This is episode number 3. Tonight's featured guest will be Justin Gaethje from the World Series of Fighting. Did we remind you that he's undefeated, people? Also, on the second half of the show, we have Cassie Robb, an Invicta Fighter, and we're gonna go ahead and pick her brain for a little bit. We're gonna see if she can give us some predictions of the atom weight fights going on this Saturday in Invicta on Ustream. Just go to Ustream, type up Invicta. It's $8. Pick it up, watch it on the live stream right there. Support your female fighters, people. We're gonna go ahead and start today's show with the news. And there's a lot of news going around. Tercilio, go ahead and tell us what the main huge news is right now in the MMA world.
Well, Alexander Gustafsson didn't get licensed by not licensed, like the commission didn't let him fight because of the cut. He had a huge cut above his left eye, and he wanted to fight because it was a huge opportunity for him, but he didn't let him fight. So the UFC, obviously there was the internet joke in April Fool's with Vanderlei Silva that he said that he was gonna go into the fight, that the UFC called him and he was in. So it was April Fool's joke. So, but he said if the UFC called him, he would be down for it, but it didn't happen that way. The UFC called Ilir Latifi, that he's 7-2. He's known as a Greco-Roman wrestler affiliated with the Pancrase Gym in Sweden, and he's a training partner with Alexander Gustafsson, but he doesn't have a huge name. But it will be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Kind of insult to injury, you know. Vanderlei Silva claimed the joke, but he said that he would be willing to take that fight. Once again, Vanderlei Silva trains out, I believe, in Las Vegas, so that would give him a short notice for travel and arrangements and all that. So that might be one of the main issues that they didn't go ahead and go with that decision to have Vanderlei Silva win. There's not a lot known about the Sledgehammer. The only thing that is known about this guy is that he does have a couple fights under United Glory, SC. He fought George Oliveira, Tony Lopez, and the big one is he was going on a 3-fight winning streak. But the person that stopped one of the people that is the one that put gave him one of his losses was in July 15th, 2011, and he's a huge name right now. He is a huge name in Bellator. It's Emmanuel Newton, and that one won by decision, but that's an interesting thing that Emmanuel Luton's the one that gave him one of his I guess it would be his second losses, and so the first fight right off the bat for him was a no contest. So it's funny. It says no contest because the ring broke. Ben, what do you think about this? I mean, you're out there in the UK. You probably were looking excited that the UFC finally goes out there, and all of a sudden the main card is changed in a drastic way. Do you see this fight actually complementing it, or do you think this is more insult to injury that they add somebody who's never even fought in the UFC before?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. This is a fight that in Europe they had all different nations in there, so everybody in Europe's looking forward to watching this event to see their guy fight. And then in the main event we had two well-known, a showcase of two great European fighters. Now, I'm not saying the Sledgehammer and Latifi, I'm not saying that he's not a good fighter, but, just have a name and someone we've seen and someone that can prove that they're sort of ready to be in that position and to prove that they are top level of European MMA would have definitely helped the event. And this is going to let a lot of people down. I'm a bit disappointed the UFC couldn't find someone else. I'm sure there would have been a lot of other fighters out there, but maybe they were looking for the quickest and the easiest way, and they got one of Gustafsson's training partners who said that he was stepping in for it. But yeah, we're all a bit disappointed over here.
What I like to point out too is that he's probably one of the shortest 205s, well, now in the weight division. Do you think that's going to be a huge problem for Mousasi fighting this guy, or?
Yeah, it's small, is he? How short is he?
He's 5'8", and
5'8".
I think Gregard's probably 6'1", I think.
Yeah,
wow,
he's 6'1".
Yeah. He would have been training a lot differently, but I think Mousasi would do fine, just fighting the smaller guy. Well, if he's been training to those punches up, then he's going to probably be feeling a lot better, and his arms aren't going to get as heavy in the fight. So I'm sure the size difference would just sort of help Mousasi. He's very good at playing the long kickboxer as well. So as long as he can stay away from Latifi's wrestling, I think that Mousasi is probably going to be able to pick him apart all night.
Yeah, so it's no, I think we're going to do our prediction later, but it's no, we all know where we're going to go with who's going to win, and it's probably going to be the big next one.
Yeah, it's like a no-brainer, basically.
Yeah, I would like to see the odds in Vegas for this fight. I mean, this is an absolutely interesting thing. And for people that don't know, Gregard Mousasi is, if you guys have missed the Strike Force, you guys were missing one hell of a fighter. He's fought Mike Kyle. He's fought everybody at the top division. He even fought Mohamed or King Mo, as everybody knows him. He lost, but it was a decision. But when you're getting into this guy, he fought Babalu Sobral, and won by KO punches. This is how dangerous dude is. He even fought Mark Hunt and submitted Mark Hunt. This guy is. He
even fought Ronaldo Jacare Souza and KO'd him. He fought already Melvin Manoef and submitted him with the triangle choke. He fought on Strike Force and Dream at Pride. The guy is for real. He's a real veteran. He's got a 37 fights under his belt. Well, 38 actually.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just bring that stat. 33 wins, 3 losses. 3 losses out of 33, or like you said, 38 fights. That's a huge. That's one of probably the best statistics on any kind of fighter who's fighting that many fights.
Yeah. He fights since 2003.
Yeah, he's gonna fight somebody 7-2. I think we're gonna see more of a sparring kind of thing with Mousasi, or he's not gonna even want to deal with it and gonna try to take him out in the first round.
Yeah, the thing that I don't understand with it is that since it's a main event, that the UFC would do such a thing, because if it was a fight on like a prelim or even like the first card, the first fight of the main card or something like that, I mean, you could do that. But since it's the main fight, it's the main event, you should never do that. You know, they had like I said, there are so many European fighters that it's not a long travel for them to go to Sweden to fight, and they were willing to fight. They wanted to get the chance to. I mean, Gegard Mousasi is easily a top 10, and people even could consider him a top 5. Who knows? And I mean, there were a lot of guys willing that had bigger names than that to do that. So and then I don't know what happened to the UFC for them to do this.
Okay, let's break this down for people that don't understand. Back in October, there was a fight, and everybody knows this fight, John Bones Jones, where injury after injury, they almost had to pull a card, and that would have been the second time they would have to pull a whole event. So, or they did pull the event, didn't they? And they moved it, so they pretended that event never happened.
No, actually, it was like the first ever UFC event to be canceled.
Yeah, it was canceled.
And actually, because if they actually moved the event, and then UFC 152 would be UFC 151. But no, actually, the UFC 151 it exists like in the websites as the UFC that never existed. So they even kept the UFC 151. I don't know why, and they skipped it, but yeah. it was the only one that was canceled in UFC history.
This is what I'm trying to bring up, and Ben, you can probably agree with me. With these kinds of injuries, and the year before, the UFC was wrecked with injuries. You would think they would have a fighter's clause where they would have one fighter and say, hey, if something happens, we want you to be the backup fighter for this fight. Like a clause at least see who's healthy, who's not fighting, and say if anything else bad happens during the training or somebody gets injured, we could still save a fight and not hustle around and frantically look for a fighter to fill out. It doesn't look professional at all that for the UFC to say they're running around and suddenly, yeah. I don't know how this happened, but I'm assuming Gustafsson said, hey, he's trained with me. He knows he's doing the same style, and he's ready to fight because he's been training with me for this entire camp. Give him a shot. It doesn't look good. It does not look good at all. And the way that Dana White even tweeted it, you could tell that he was not happy. He just did anything.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. They should definitely have, if they're going away, if they're going out of the US, they should definitely have a fighter, go-to fighter, and they should have called, organised, and said, just in case anything does happen, you're in the same country, you're like in a European country, so you can come in, and they would have had more time. If there wasn't so much confusion, I mean, the day before, when Gustafsson suffered that cut over his eye in training, like, the Swedish Federation said straight away that it would be unlikely to compete. Mousasi said he thought he was still fighting. Dana thought that the fight was still on. And if there wasn't so much confusion and there was just a straight answer, yes or no, is he fighting, it would have at least given them another day to maybe sort of fly another fighter over there with Vanderlei or something. But to be honest, the UFC just panicked and took the easiest way out. That was just one of Gustafsson's training partners that he probably pumped up and said, come on, let this guy fight. He deserves it. He does this, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I think it was just the UFC sort of panicking, really.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, and it just it leaves a distinct taste in people's mouths. And he's gonna have to make it up back in the European countries again. He's gonna have to make some kind of event to make up for this, because people were basically begging for this kind of fight to happen out there. I mean, it was a huge fight, and it was still underrated that they still had it on the Fuel card and didn't really have it. I mean, in the like I said, Ben from the UK, Tercilio's from Brazil, but in the United States, it's on Fuel. And for people that don't know what Fuel is a channel that Comcast does not have, but the rival DirecTV has. So the people who have Comcast cannot watch the fight legally. You know, you would have to stream it somewhere to be actually able to enjoy it, or go to a bar, or go somewhere to actually watch this fight. And so, you know, it's kind of an insult that we don't get to see this kind of a great fight just because there's major competition between two rival, you know, TV, cable companies. But that's beyond the point. Beyond the point of that is this was a card that could have easily been an FX card or a Fox card.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, they put it on the most smallest channel that Fox has. I mean, not only that, now when they get injured, they really is like, oh, you know, we have too much to worry because we have an entire month of fights. We'll just throw any kind of fighter that we can, and that'll be it. It just seems like the redheaded stepchild of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, with like you said, I don't know how the UFC didn't learn from last year, since they had so many fights canceled because of injuries. I mean, obviously there's nothing they can do to avoid the injuries, but what they can do is find a solution for them when it happens. So now, just like you said, the guy gets injured, and there's no one that the UFC had, because actually I have seen already a lot of fights where the guy was injured and they already had someone to step in, basically. You know, even the what was the last fight? There was a fight that Frank Mir won. I think it was his win over Big Nog, and then there was a fight coming up, and then a heavyweight fight, and then it was something like a title fight. That they said that the guy was not healthy and probably couldn't make it to the fight, and then they said for him to like keep to keep on hold, to keep the weight and stuff, to not go off weight, to keep training. So if something happens, he would fight. So and then this suddenly happens. And I mean, it's not like it happened like on like a day before the fight or something. It happened 1 week before the fight. They had 7 days to fix the problem, and the way that they fixed it, it was a very unprofessional way, like you said.
The way I see it is the UFC has money. We know this. To make a clause, which would be a contract, another undisclosed contract saying that, you know, hey, if this fight does not happen because it's the main event and everything's riding on this main event ticket, we need another one to fill in this place. So if something happens to this fighter, instead of pulling that other fighter off, as long as the other fighter agrees, this will be your next one. And even just give them a percentage or I guess like you would put like money down on the guy just to know that he's going to be fighting. You know, just cut him a check. Say, even if you don't fight, you'll get this amount just for being there and being ready for us in case we needed you.
Yeah, it's the show money, like they call it.
Yeah, it would be like a deposit on a fight that might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great idea. I don't know why the UFC hasn't already sort of implemented something like that. They always say about how like the UFC are always talking about the new places that they want to go, and they want to really establish themselves in other countries and things. Well, like they should definitely have it planned. If they want to go, if they want to go all the way over to Europe, they should definitely have it planned that there will be another guy there.
They could have even. I know the marketing and everything was there, but then you're marketing somebody who's not even known by the UFC. They could have even scratched the whole fight and said, you know what, we're going to save this one till they're both healed, and then we'll do something for the UK fans and everybody else. And then just put Ross Pearson and Ryan Couture as the main event.
And I think that'll be a better main event now. That'll be a more competitive main event than Mousasi Latifa.
You even have Matt Mitrione and Philip DeFries on that same thing. They could have put them all up.
Brad Pickett, Mike Easton is a wicked fight. That would be. I would happily watch that as the main event.
Yeah. So it's daunting, and I don't understand what's going on. You know, but then again, I don't work in the UFC, but it to me, like hearing you, Ben, I know you guys, everybody has to be pissed over there that this happened.
We all are. We don't get like a fight often. Like if we want to watch a UFC event, we have to do what I'm doing now and sort of wake up at 3 a.m. and watch it till 6 a.m. So we finally get one that's, you know, at our time and we can watch it comfortably. You know, we can have friends around, all get together, have a few beers, watch on TV. And now sort of the main event has sort of ruined it for what everyone was really looking forward to.
All right. You know what? I forgot to tell people that we do have a call for people to call into the show. Call in. It's area code 347-324-5998. We're going to talk about this for about 10 minutes more. Then like I said, we have Justin Gaethje, World Series of Fighting, undefeated lightweight. He's going to stop by the show, give us a little talk. We're gonna pick his brain for a minute or two, see what's up in the World Series of Fighting, who he possibly might be fighting. We're gonna get all that kind of news. The World Series of Fighting is really exciting. It's finally launching, or it's launched, and it looks positive, and the perspectives look good for this series. So, you know, we're absolutely thrilled that he's going to be on the show. But let's talk about one thing though. Since I have my panel here and we can pick this, and I know that we all like these kind of conversations, is where do you see Gustafsson now ranking? Now that he's injured, do you see him getting any kind of title, or who would he need to fight next to actually prove himself as a top person to fight?
I wanted to see him against Glover.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, who do you want to see him with?
Fight.
I'm not sure. That is really tough because he's fought so many great guys already. Maybe winner of Henderson. No, maybe loser of Henderson Machida. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think this is like you say, you take two steps forward and two steps
One
back.
step back. Yeah.
One step back. Yeah. I think this is gonna seriously affect his rankings. I mean, he'll still be number 2, but people are gonna want to see another fight from him before he even gets that title shot. And I know he's upset because he didn't want to be pulled out of this fight. He knew that being pulled out of this fight would hold him back from getting that fight as soon as Chael Sonnen and John Bones Jones was done. As soon as that, they would have scheduled it, and bam, he would have been there. But now there's this thing. And what if Mousasi does great in this one? What does that mean? Where does that put him? So it just kind of mixes everything in that light heavyweight division around, where we really don't know who should be the next one title. Of course, like we said, in the stats, it looks like Gustafsson. But him not fighting in 2013 early, it kind of leaves a question mark for everybody else who doesn't know him, because a lot of people do not know who this kid is.
Yeah, I think a great fight that they could have that if they picked up and that had gone in would have been like if they could have found Brendan Vera. I'm not sure what Brendan Vera is doing now, but he was up there and he lost a really tough fight against Shogun, and I think he would have sort of fit in really nicely against Gegard Mousasi, but he hasn't fought for a while. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Yeah, but you got to remember that we're still having is Lyoto the I mean, obviously now, Lyoto, he was the number 1 contender, but like me and Hector were talking about, it's really hard for you to know who was gonna be the real number 1 contender if Gustafsson had beaten Mousasi in such a devastating way, because since Gustafsson was already number 2. And then he had already beaten like 2 to 3 straight top guys. So if Lyoto, obviously now it's the number 1 contender. But in a good fight for Gustafsson, you know, I'll tell you right now, it could be the winner of Henderson versus Rashad Evans. I mean, to be a fight that would really make sense for him, that would be the fight, the winner of that fight.
That's the fight I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, and obviously it would be the right timing for him because he would have a lot of time to recover from the injury.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, so we're gonna see where the UFC is gonna place Gustafsson after he's healed. For people that don't know Gustafsson, he's like the hidden welterweight Rory McDonald of the light heavyweights. That's the only way I could explain it. Uh-huh. Everybody knows of him. He sounds like a myth, but nobody's seen him fight, and that's kind of sad for him. And so he has a large following of people. I mean, just not the people from the UK and Europe, like him, but everybody who watches the UFC and watches every single prelim, every single fight knows who this kid is, and we were actually so excited to see him fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really excited for one. I love his style. Every fight he just looks improved, and his striking game is so intriguing and so sort of like I don't know the word is I'm looking for. His striking is his own kind of style, and it's really sort of fun to watch him fight. And he gets so much better every match. And no doubt this match you would have seen him better than ever. Gegard Mousasi would have stepped up. It would have been an awesome bout.
Yeah, and I actually do think that this would have, just depending on how the event went, and if it was an explosive fight and not a boring fight, this would have been for the contender of who would get John Bones Jones easily.
Definitely.
Because like we said, look at Gegard's record and look at who he's fought already. So we know that he's no joke, and he's older now, and I think this opportunity is sad for him because this kind of holds him back. I mean, if he would have devastated Gustafsson in spectacular fashion, he would have got a title contention right off the bat. He's not a young guy in this sport. He would have been able to, maybe try to defend it. Since John Bones Jones is there, the belt hasn't really switched hands that much. Before, it used to be like every other fight, somebody else would have it. Before Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell's probably one of the longest ones who held that belt.
Yeah.
Well, I think that John Jones is gonna beat every record, and probably in next year or 2015 he will probably move up to heavyweight. He will have some strength and conditioning lessons with Alistair Overeem and go up to heavyweight.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to end our conversation right here. I'm going to throw the commercial one more time. We are sponsored by Onnit, ONNIT, Training Mask, and Real Combat Media is our home base for everything that you need to know about MMA, mixed martial arts. Check them out at realcombatmedia.com. You can find us on Facebook. But let me just have the commercial do all that, and then after that, we're going to go ahead and call our dear friend Justin Guitry and pick his brain for a minute, okay? Here we go. This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the Onnit banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the Onnit. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started. We're getting the second half of the show started We're about halfway of the first half, and then the next half, like I said, we'll have first. We're gonna call Justin Gaethje, World Series of Fighting. We're gonna go ahead and talk to him for a moment. Tercilio will take the lead on this one. Then after that, we're gonna talk maybe a little bit about the whole Andrei Arlovski 8 seconds extra on a sanctioned fight. Then after that, we will go and talk to Cassie Robb from Invicta. We'll talk to her about the upcoming Invicta fights. We're going to talk to her about when we can predict to see her fight again in Invicta and all that. So let's go ahead and let's do a phone call. Let's see if it works on this one. If not, I'm just going to have to use my trusty phone on this one. Hold on.
Please enjoy this Verizon ringback tone while your party is reached.
Hello?
Hello, is this Justin?
Yeah, this is him.
Hey, Mr. Gaethje, how are you doing? This is Hector from Real Combat Media, MMA Radio. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. First of all, I'd like to introduce you. I have my panel here. I have Ben from the UK, and I have Tercilio from Brazil.
What's up, Justin?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
So we're gonna go ahead. Go ahead and ask you a couple questions. Shouldn't take that much time off of you. Maybe 15 minutes. If you gotta go, just let us know. First of all, Justin, the thing I keep forgetting. This is a new show for us. This is our 3rd episode. So happy you're on here. But first of all, let me tell. Do you have any Twitter account or anywhere where people can find you? And do you have any things that you need to say or promote for yourself?
Yeah, you can find me on my Twitter is @Gaethje. My last name, it's hard to spell. _FSU.
All right. So Tercilio is going to go ahead and take the first question. Go ahead, Tercilio.
Well, Justin, I would already like to congratulate you on your last TKO victory over Jesus Cavalcante, and ask about, do you have any injuries coming off that fight?
No, I'm feeling good. I'm already back. I had my first sparring day back today. No, I'm feeling good after that fight. Hopefully, get on the next show coming up in June.
Yeah, so you're gonna be fighting at the World Series of Fighting 3.
I hope so. I'm not for sure yet. It hasn't been confirmed or anything, but yeah, I'm hoping to.
And how does your contract work in the World Series of Fighting? Is it like you only fight for them, or you can also fight in like Jiu-Jitsu championships or other MMA organizations?
No, I'm signing for an exclusive contract with them for 5 fights, for 2 years or 5 fights, whichever comes first. Yeah, I'll be with them for a little bit.
Okay. So, are you looking to renew the contract with them, or probably move to somewhere else when the contract is
that was my first fight with them. I still got for one more fight. So there's a lot of things that could happen in this game. This game, your game evolves and things happen so quick. So we'll just take each fight by fight, and then we'll see what comes after I'm done with my contract.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Ben from the UK. Ben, do you have any questions for him?
Yeah, hiya, Justin. First of all, it's great to have you on the show, mate.
Thank you, man.
I just wanted to ask you about your fight with Cavalcante. That was a great performance. Was your game plan to go straight at him like you did out the bell, or did you just sort of get in the mood and you found those shots up against the cage, or was that part of the game plan? Get in his face, push him up, and land some of those shots.
Yeah, that's really my only game plan coming into any fight is just move forward and just go in there and fight. They lock the cage and a lot of guys aren't going to be ready for that. They like to you get a fill out process, but I don't think you get in there and you just got to start banging until it's over, because it only takes one shot. So if you're sitting back there waiting to get hit, you're getting knocked out going forward. It's not as bad. So I'm not. I just like to move forward and fight, make it exciting.
Yeah, it's a really exciting style for the fans. As soon as you landed that elbow, could you tell when you saw that cut open up? Could you tell that it would be over? Did you think that maybe they'd let the fight carry on for the rest of the round?
I actually wasn't the elbow that cut him open. It was actually a right knee that I hit right after that elbow. Maybe probably like 20 seconds after that. Yeah. So that's what split him open. But no, I didn't see the cut. I never really got a good look at it. But it was a lot of blood. I think there was a lot of blood. I didn't know how bad it was though. But I definitely wish I would have let it keep going. I was having fun.
Yeah, JD, like, he wanted to keep going. He seemed like a pretty cool guy after the fight, congratulating you on that.
Yeah, he was cool. I mean, he was cool before the fight, after the fight. Yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, so this is your first fight in World Series of Fighting. Behind the scenes, there were like a few problems here and there, like with the cage and with some of the gloves and that for Andre Arlovski. For you, behind the scenes, did everything go smoothly? Everything went well? Yeah,
it was, like I said, it was my first time I've ever been on a big show, that type of atmosphere, in MMA. So I enjoyed every bit of it, whatever was going on. We didn't really even know what was going on with the cameras. We never heard anything. But, so, I mean, I had a good experience. Everything, I just soaked it all up and, just enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah, well, congratulations with a successful fight.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Justin, I have a quick question for you. This being your biggest show, and of course it's showing on the NBC Sports Network, were there any butterflies or anything about going into this event?
Not really. I've been wrestling for my entire life, pretty much since I was 4. And I wrestled in college. I wrestled at the Division I Nationals 3 times. So I've wrestled in front of a big crowd. It's something, a lot bigger crowds than that was at the fight. So it's nothing new to me. It's just something that I love to enjoy. I soak it all up and just feed off of it and just go with it.
So looking at the series of fighting, they really don't have a lightweight champion. So do you know if how's their style? Is it going to be like a tournament style, or how would they decide that? Because I see that you have a great record of 8-0. And there's only probably 3 in your division that have an undefeated record.
Yeah, I think JC was definitely the best lightweight that the World Series of Fighting has on their resume. But there's a couple other guys. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm not really worried about it. It's not like you get paid more if you fight for a belt right now. So I'm just worried about fighting and winning. Hopefully they give us some bonuses next time. Put some bonuses out there.
There was no bonuses on this fight?
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure. Maybe there was. I don't know. I didn't hear about it. But I don't think so.
No.
But how about the win bonus? Was there a win bonus?
Oh yeah, it was just double my purse. I got the same win bonus as I did for fight bonus.
Okay. And how did you feel coming into the fight since you had only 7 fights and he had already 23 fights?
Once again, I'm no stranger. I've been competing for my whole life, so that's a lot of fights. But I've had thousands of wrestling matches, on top of my 15 fights that I have overall now. So, I'm used to the one-on-one competition. I have a twin brother, so I've just been competing my whole life pretty much. So it's just something that I love, and it's just what I like to do. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does your twin brother compete as well, or are you the only current MMA fighter in your family?
Yeah, I'm the only MMA fighter. He works at a copper mine, actually, in Arizona.
And I see that you train out of Arizona. That's a real drive.
I actually train out of Colorado.
Oh, so you got that elevation, for the training and everything, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. I felt great going down, to Atlantic City fighting there.
So your cardio is up to par, or way better than somebody who has training just in normal altitude then?
Yeah, I mean, it's all in your head, either way.
So, Justin, are you happy with the sort of pace that you've been improving at the moment, been getting better? Do you feel you've been getting better every fight? And maybe where do you see yourself in the future?
Yeah, I mean, fighting and wrestling are 2 different sports. So, I had to come, and I've been working with Trevor Whitman at the Grudge Training Center in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. And my game just, I'm just improving every day, every sparring day, every workout day, every class. My game's improving, and I'm starting, to become an all-around fighter. You know, like I said, I never would have considered myself a striker, but I like that's what people like to see, and I like to go out there and I like just to stand up and bang. So I'm just my game has just been improving so much here in Colorado.
It's great news.
I was looking at your fight history, and you actually did fight a veteran of the UFC, Drew Fickett. Was it back in 2012? And
yeah, at the end of 2012.
It seems like it was 12 seconds. You knocked him out or KO'd.
Yeah. First combination I threw, I hit him pretty good and knocked him out. It was sweet. I wish they could all go like that. Yeah,
you don't leave a lot of the fights. You end them pretty fast in the first and second round. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, look, every fight, you guys saw me, like, if you was at the game plan coming out and just going forward. If you watch any fight I've ever had, it's the same thing. I come out and I'd move forward and I'd try to get hit, and I try to hit them as hard as I can. So that's usually the plan. I use a lot more wrestling, which is the first time I've never got a takedown. But, I felt comfortable where I was, so I just, I was just keeping it there.
The wrestling aspect of it, has that helped your punching? Because I know a lot of the wrestlers end up kind of using their hips and everything towards those punches. Is that the kind of style of punching? I mean, that wrestling style had to help you create that ultimate dynamite power you have in the hands. Wrestling my whole life, my body awareness, it's just all about how to know the way your body works together. And my hips are the most important thing you could have in wrestling. And I did a lot of Greco-Roman wrestling and a lot of upper body wrestling, so I use my hips a lot. So yeah, it definitely helps. It just made me athletic and stuff like that. Just being aware of where your body is I think the most important thing.
Justin, you obviously we can consider you as like we call the new breed of MMA fighters that they don't have so much experience, but when they get in the cages, like they have been fighting their whole life in MMA.
Yeah.
So for you to get to like the next level, to eventually become a who knows, a UFC champion in the future, do you think that you need to change your training staff or to go somewhere else to just do like a little week camps to develop some stuff, or you think that in Colorado with your team you're doing great, and obviously with your wrestling credentials?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever heard the Grudge Training Center in Colorado, but it's one of the best gyms in the nation. We have fighters coming in every day, every week. Just this morning we had Tommy Spear come in. Right now, I live at a fighter house here, the Grudge Fighter House, and Melvin Gallar just flew in. He flew in for the week to train with us. Donald Cerrone comes up often, Leonard Garcia, Cup Lawson. So we have a ton of guys that come in here. So I'm stuck. I'm here for good. This is where I want to be. This is where my career is going to be and develop. And I couldn't ask to be in a better gym. It's just obviously you have really great training partners. And is Melvin Gillard training there full time? No, I don't think so. He just flew in right now. I haven't even talked to him yet. He might be here actually. I'm not sure. But no, I think he's just here for a week to get some training in with Trevor.
All right.
Okay.
You said that you lived in a firehouse. So are you still part of the fire department?
No, fighter, the Grudge Fighter House, my gym.
Okay. It kind of broke up. Is MMA just your straight profession, or do you have another? Yeah,
no, that's all I do. I mean, I got my bachelor's degree in human services, but right now, it's just taking up a lot of time. I eventually want to start working with, the youth, but right now I'm just concentrating on this. I teach wrestling classes at the gym, and I give private lessons to high school wrestling kids, so stuff like that.
So you're a big influence in your community as well. That's a great, noble thing to be doing.
Yeah, I'm from a small town in Arizona. It's called Stafford. And yeah, it's been real good. Drugs have really taken over in the past 10 years or so. So, it's really good that, those kids are seeing someone go out and, they know they can go out and do something with their life now instead of just being stuck, they're doing, mining in the town. So it's real good.
All right, Justin. You know what? We would like to thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it. Just go ahead and let us know when you do know when you're going to be fighting. Like I said, we'll promote the heck out of it. Outstanding first show of the World Series of Fighting for you. One of the most spectacular, the TKO that you did, that nasty cut. It was the best way to, bring you up to the limelight, and it got my attention, and it got the panel here's attention that we had to get you on this show. So we thank you for coming on the show. Is there anybody that you want to thank? And like I said, you go ahead and say your Twitter, and so people can follow you on that.
Yeah, look me up on it's Gaethje, GAETHJE _FSU. And I just want to thank the Grudge Training Center, all my training partners. I have a couple sponsors, JD's Bar and Grill in Arizona, and Andrew's Jewelers here in Colorado. But that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Justin, for calling in. We appreciate it. Good luck on your training, and good luck on your next fight. Let us know. Real Combat Media thanks you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the opportunity.
Keep up the good work, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Gaethje just left the building, I guess, materialistically wise, with just the static electricity and everything else that created this wonderful conversation over the via internet. So that's what it is. I mean, he is one of the people to look out for in the World Series of Fighting. He's hopefully he wants to go and fight in the next upcoming fights in June. We'll see what it is. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think about that interview?
It was a great interview. The guy's a beast, man. I don't know the complete roster of fighters from the World Series of Fighting, but I would like to see him keep facing top opponents, because Jay-Z is obviously a veteran. So and he dominated him. Like I said, he's the in the new breed of fighters that they come in. Like even John Jones himself, the guy fights only from 2008. Started fighting in 2008, and today he's the world champion and thought to be one of, if not the greatest in the world, between him and Anderson. So I hope he keeps getting these top level fighters in World Series of Fighting, because since when he goes to the UFC, he's not it's not like a new thing for him, He's already accustomed to it.
Well, let's see it right now. I have, in fact, the World Series of Fighting lightweights roster right now, and we have Jay-Z was 16-6-1. T.J. O'Brien's on there, 805. John Gunderson, Brian Cobb. I think the biggest names that we know is Jacob Volkman. We forget about Jacob Volkman.
Oh, yeah.
Is in the World Series of Fighting. That might be an interesting fight. I mean, for people that did not watch the World Series of Fighting, I think you can even YouTube it. YouTube Justin's fight, and you'll see what we're talking about. This guy is a ferocious beast. He's very poised and very gentlemanlike on his interviews, but he is a beast in the cage. And Jacob Volkman,
like you said, he just goes forward.
Yeah.
He just goes forward and swings, and he just looks for those finishes. And he's not one of the fighters that will take the decision. He goes out of his way and he puts himself on the line to get those finishes. And like you said, he'd rather be knocked out going forward than knocked out standing or going backwards. And he's a definite up and comer. I don't think he needs to rush to anything. He's young. Let him have a few more fights in World Series of Fighting, a few more huge wins, I'm sure, until he sort of proceeds to anything bigger.
Well, yeah, if he doesn't fight in the next World Series of Fighting card, he could definitely face the winner of John Gunderson versus Dan Lozon. That they will be I think the co-main event for the next card. So if he doesn't fight on that card, he could fight the winner of that fight, or if not, a fight with with Christmas Volkman, it would be good.
Yeah, Chris Volkman. Who's he fighting for? I think he's fighting in June, right?
I'm not
Who,
sure.
Volkman?
Yeah.
I don't think he has a fight yet.
Oh, he doesn't have a fight, but he is signed. I mean, he's right there. I'm looking at him on the thing. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with that one. We're gonna keep an eye out for Justin and see what he does. And you know what? That was the last fight. I think after that fight in October, Drew Fickett hasn't really fought after that. He was coming off of losses against Jamie Varner, Ronnie Torres, Brian Cobb. Brian Cobb, again, is on the World Series of Fighting, too. So we're going to see what that looks like. We have 10 minutes to kill. And, well, not kill, but we're gonna go ahead and have a little conversation for these 10 minutes. And since we are on the topic of World Series of Fighting, did you guys notice that 8 extra seconds in the first round of the Andre Arlovski and Anthony Rumble Johnson fight?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't notice it when the fight was going on, but I heard about it. Greg Jackson wasn't happy at all, and apparently the timekeeper, he wasn't properly trained, and those shots that Anthony Johnson landed were after the 5-minute mark. And I'm not sure if they were or not, but that could have been like when Arlovski broke his jaw. I could be wrong. He could have said it was in a different round. I'm not sure. But Andre Arlovski couldn't really recover after those devastating shots that were landed when the first round should have been over. And who knows, Arlovski could have come back still with a fresh head and would have been able to get straight back into it. And he was doing well in the first round until he got hit by them huge shots landed after the bell. I mean, Johnson said they didn't matter, but they obviously really did.
Yeah, and if you go, I think a lot of people have already decided that, and the punches that almost caused that TKO in the first round were after the 8 seconds. So it was, I think Arlovski knows his body and knows the timing as well for how long he's been in there, and I think he probably saw, his training camp getting ready, going up the ramp, going up the stairs, getting ready, and then they're like, what the hell? Why is the cage? And why are they still fighting?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I think I don't think Andre Arlovski was expecting. I don't know. It looked like he was walking towards the side, the cage, getting ready to leave. So he kind of knew, and I think they were looking at the clock too up there. If you don't, you know what? That's a good point. If you watch the fight, Anthony Rumble Johnson is looking at the fight clock, and I think he punches him after the thing keeps going.
Oh, yeah. That is a good point. I think I saw Andre Arlovski when he seemed to look confused after Johnson walked off celebrating and Arlovski was on his knees. He was sort of looking over to his corner, a bit confused in sort of what had just gone on. Why did this happen to him? Like when the time had gone past.
No, Ben, you said
it was a big mistake.
You said you've done some amateur, right? MMA.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had 2 amateur MMA bouts, versatile martial arts in Hailsham.
Before we go to the question, were those? Did you win those, or were they draws?
Yeah, I won both the fights. The first one was in the first round, 1 minute 47 seconds by knee bar, and then the second one was by TKO, knees to the body, run in the second round.
Right.
Just a shout out to my gym, Versatile Martial Arts Hailsham, sort of great place there, sort of teaching some of the younger guys and kids coming up.
So the reason that I bring up this question, and since you said that you're fighting, is do you know what it takes to be the person that rings the bell? Are they sanctioned commission, or are they just people that are part of that organization they get to select to be the timekeeper? How do you know what goes into that process?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think the bells that are used in all the gyms that I've trained at and in the sort of fights and that, those bells are just done on a timer. So it's just set. They press a button at the beginning of the round and the bell automatically will go off after 5 minutes has been completed. So there's no sort of manpower behind it. It's just completely button and it's just set on a timer.
Yeah, I've sat in through the Tachi Palace fights, and they still do it with the stopwatch and a hammer. So, maybe this is something the World Series of Fighting will learn from that and implement the electronic keeper, where somebody just pushes the button, starts reloads the 5 minutes, and lets the timer run off and ring the bell by itself.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, a lot of people said it's not a big deal. It's not, and some people say it is. I think it is because, like I said, Andre Arlovski almost got TK'd, and what would have happened if he got TK'd? I mean, they would probably appeal this. They would have to appeal it because it wasn't a sanctioned fight after that.
Yeah, and it would have been like a no contest instead of a loss.
Yeah.
And obviously the thing with that fight is that happened on the worst way possible, because if anything hadn't happened at the end of the round, if the guys were only standing, not doing anything, or on the ground, only grinding out, it wouldn't be a problem. But Arlovski, I think he took the most damage in the fight, probably in those last seconds. So that was a thing that could make the change of the fight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the reason that I bring it up is just simply because if he won the fight, it probably would have been stripped anyways, because it didn't go the way that people wanted it to go, and it became an unsanctioned fight after it went over the 8 seconds that a sanctioned fight's supposed to go. So there would have been huge controversy of that fight, and I don't think it would have looked good on Anthony Rumble Johnson. He already has, bad momentum when he first started. A lot of people didn't like him because he never made weight in the UFC and stuff like that, and that probably would have been another bad marking on his career.
Yeah, and obviously that would have been just bad luck, because he couldn't do anything. He was fighting. There were no horns. There were no anything. He was just fighting. Then it was completely, I don't know. I mean, it obviously was completely out of his hands. But I don't know whose fault was that. If it was the commission or something like that. He didn't have anything to do with it. And if it unfortunately it had ended it that way, it would be bad for him. Not only bad for him, but I mean, obviously for the sport in general, because it's obviously a big organization, if you can call it, a World Series of Fighting. So it would be really ugly for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So this is going to bring us to the end of our first half. What do you know? This show is moving so fast that we've already an hour that's passed by. We're going to do one more of these lovely commercials for realcombatmedia.com. Once again, sponsors of the show is Onnit, ONNIT.com. Go to it, get some Alpha Brain, get some Shroom-Tech so you don't get any false infections where you're rolling on the mats. Get your training mask on so you can fight like Gaethje, but without going to Colorado. Isn't that would be an awesome thing for that? So let me start this thing. See, Tercilio can train like he was training in Colorado if he used a training mask.
Vanderlei's a big fan of the training mask.
Yeah, Vanderlei is a huge fan of training masks. So let's see.
I'm gonna try that on when I find the opportunity to buy it, I will buy it and use it.
Here we go. This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started. And we're getting the show started on the second half of the show. Right now we're going to call Cassie Robb, who is an Invicta fighter. We're going to go ahead and pick her brain. We're going to see who she trains, where she's doing, what current fights does she have coming up next. This one we do a little rotation, so Tercilio will take the first question for this one. We're going to go ahead and do the introduction for this interview in a bit. Once again, this is Cassie Robb from Invicta. Let's see if she has any fancy music on her cell phone, just like Justin. So hold on. Let me see. I have so many tabs, I don't know which one to push to go back to the blog talk. All right, here we go. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Yep. Yeah, let's go.
Here comes the second half of the show. After this, we will talk about Invicta's second attempt at pay-per-view at Invicta 5. After that, we are going to talk about UFC on Fuel numero 9 or number 9 for the people that do not speak Spanish. Here we go. Let's see if she's ready.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 72024.
Well, let me see what's going on. Go ahead and kill the silence, one of you guys. I'm going to go ahead and text message her and tell her I'll see what's going on, okay?
I was looking at her record, and she as an amateur, she has 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw, and as a pro she has a loss, second round, a rear naked choke. But she had her first fight in January, so she obviously has a lot of things to learn from.
Yep, she's Cassie the Hulk Robb, losing her first professional fight, unfortunately, against Laura Sanko by rear naked choke. So obviously we want to talk to her about what she's going to do after that fight and how many more fights she's going to do with Invicta, what she thinks about that. So if we can get her back on, we look forward to asking her a few questions.
Yeah, so we're just gonna wait a little bit. We're waiting for her phone call. Or you know what? I can give her the phone call to us, and she can call in, and I can answer it. Are you guys excited? I mean, in the UK and that, are you guys gonna be watching the fights or?
Unfortunately, in the UK, there's no way really of watching Invicta apart from online streaming. I've sort of caught some of the main events, but I've never really followed Invicta. Oh my God. Sorry guys, that advert's gone off. I've not really got around to following Invicta or that, but we'll see.
All right, let me see.
Tercilio, how do you? Oh, sorry. There you go.
Cassie?
Yeah, this is.
Hey, what's going on? This is Hector from Real Combat Media Radio, or Real Combat Media MMA Radio, I'm sorry. We're calling you, so my name's Hector, and we have our panel, who is Ben from the UK, and we have Tercilio from Brazil, and we're going to go ahead and pick your brain for a little bit. First of all, thank you very much for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So it looks like you are currently have a contract with Invicta, correct?
Yes, I do. I have a 3-fight contract with them.
All right. So, Tercilio, you have the first question for Miss Robb. Go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. Hey, Cassie. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, good as well. Do you have already a fight scheduled?
I don't have one scheduled yet. I think I might be fighting in June or July, hopefully, on their next show. The next one that they're having is going to be this weekend, actually, and I didn't make it on that one, but I hope to be in the one in this summer.
So, but is it gonna be at atomweight?
Yes.
Is the weight cut easy for you?
Yeah. I mean, I walk at around anywhere from 113 to 115, so I never have to cut more than 10 pounds, and I mean, it's always been really easy for me. It's not fun, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, so you basically don't cut any weight, basically, right? Only in the week of the fight?
Yeah. I think my last fight I had to cut about 7 pounds, and I just cut it in water weight. I mean, I drink a lot of water the whole week prior to it, and take a few Epsom salt baths, go to the sauna, and it comes off just like that.
Yeah, it's like a walk in the park.
Yeah.
So, what do you think you should have done different in your last fight?
There's a lot of things I could have done different. After watching the video, I noticed a couple of times where I had the opportunity to take her back, but I didn't. Instead, I stood up with her again, and I mean, it still worked out in my favor the first round, but she caught me in a choke in the second. So I just, I kind of want to work a little more on my stand-up game, because I felt like it was a lot of grappling, which was kind of what I wanted to stray from. But in the end, I kind of stuck to what I knew best. And I mean, I had the upper hand the first round, you know, but sneaky little booger caught me in the second one.
Yeah, so I see in your record that you had already 6 amateur fights, and is it going into a professional fight way different than an amateur fight, or basically the same thing?
It's a lot different, I think. I've had a lot more media attention and interviews and whatnot like that. I didn't really have that as an amateur, and also pro rounds are longer, you know, so I mean, it doesn't seem like that much longer, but in all reality, it kind of is. I mean, it's a long time to fight, period. Amateur rounds, it's only 9 minutes, but pro, it's 15, you know. It's a long time to be getting punched in the face and stuff. It's exhausting, but it's fun.
Do you like the media attention? Because there are a lot of fighters that they don't like to do the social media, and they just do it because it's part of the game. But there are fighters that actually enjoy it. What is your view on that?
I actually like it. I like getting my name out there and showing people who I am and what I'm capable of, and that I have other talents just besides fighting. You know, I like to sing. I like to dance. I like to do a lot of different things, and I like to let people know that I'm just, you know, a normal person having hobbies and trying to get known for them.
Yeah. So just one last question before Ben asks you his questions. What is your prediction for the main event, Jessica Penney versus Michelle Waterson?
Oh, I think Jessica Penney's got it in the bag. I mean, don't get me wrong, Michelle Waterson is a great fighter, and I've known of her for a long time since I started MMA, but I don't know. I got a feeling. I think Jessica Penney is gonna keep that title.
Okay.
And you think it's gonna be by TKO submission or decision?
I don't know. I could see it going to decision though, because Michelle's pretty tough too. She knows how to hold her own. She can take a hit, but I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of her wrestling. I mean, she seems pretty good, but I don't know. Like I said, I think Jessica Pena's got it. She's got a lot of experience and she's a really good fighter. So I think she'll take home the victory.
Okay, thanks, Cassie.
Thank you.
Hi, Cassie. Just have a few questions for you, if that's okay. We had so I just wanted to ask you firstly about like training. Do you train full time in MMA now, or are there other things that you're doing? You just train a couple of times a week?
I train full time actually, and I'm also a personal trainer and fitness instructor at the Title Boxing in Thornton. So basically, I'm just working out like all the time.
Right.
I kind of like to revolve my life around it. I mean, it's become more than just a hobby to me. It's more of a lifestyle now. So.
And when you train, do you train with and when you train in your gym, do you train with other women, or are there sort of few guys that you train with?
I train with women and with men too. I only have 2 other girls on my team. Diana Rael and Stephanie Skinner. She's actually my fiance. She will be fighting on the next XFC show. Those are the only girls I really get to train with. So other than that, I train with Ali Hanjani, Nathan Gates, Peyton, Ben Schiffler, a lot of guys.
Oh, great. And how is it for like a woman getting into MMA? And what made you decide that you wanted to start MMA? Have you always been into combat sports, and this was just the next one for you, or was it a bit of a sort of shock and you just decided to throw yourself in at MMA?
I used to kind of want to be a boxer when I was younger. My dad always kind of taught me how to parry punches and block punches and stuff like that, and I always had interest in it, but I never really knew MMA until I started going to local shows in my hometown, and I always thought men did it. So I went to a show and I actually saw a girl fight, and it kind of inspired me. But when I told everybody, they said I couldn't do it. They're like, "No, you're too small. You're too pretty to fight. You're gonna ruin your pretty little face and all this stuff." So that was more of a drive for me to say, "Screw you guys, I'm gonna do it anyways."
Yeah. And how is it like fighting in Invicta? You glad that there's sort of now an iconic women's MMA organization?
Oh yeah, definitely. Invicta is a promotion I literally dreamed about fighting for, and when I got the offer, I had to pinch myself. I'm like, why me? But it's been such an amazing experience. They take really great care of their fighters, and they're really a bunch of nice people. Just trying to, help us get our names out there, show them what women's MMA is all about.
Thanks, Cassie. Hector?
Hey, Cassie, this is Hector. How did you get your invite to actually fight for the promotion of Invicta?
Actually, the matchmaker, Janet Martin, got a hold of my coach, Ben Schiffler, and they had already had my opponent, Laura Senko, and they knew that she had a belt for her weight class, and I was the only other girl in the country that had the other belt. I mean, we were the only 2 girls that had them, so that's kind of why we got the offer to fight each other. 2 champions, 2 atomweight amateur champions, making their pro debut on Invicta sounded like a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah, you know what? I've been following Invicta, and I'm actually becoming a huge fan of Invicta, and I love what they're doing. I like the kind of, I guess, it would be like a sisterhood camaraderie that they have with the UFC, and how some fighters are fighting under Invicta, but do still continue to have a UFC contract, like Sarah Kaufman. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Invicta, and we're going to be watching it on Saturday. My question is, how did you get the nickname the Hulk?
I get asked that a lot. I gave it to myself. A lot of other fighters get their names from other people, but I've always just really liked the Hulk growing up, and especially when that new one came out with Edward Norton. He's like one of my favorite actors. And when I started fighting, I noticed most people think I'm a calm and collected kind of chill person, which I am, but, once you get my adrenaline pumping and get me going, I turn into a beast. I turn into a Hulk.
So is it an homage to the Hulk or to Edward Norton? Because he's kind of a beast as well, if you've seen him in any other movies as well.
Oh, yeah. I'd say more towards just the Hulk. I mean,
Right.
I really think he did a great job playing the role, though. I haven't liked any other movies as much, superhero movies, I guess. I really liked that one, and that's it came out around the time I started fighting, too, so I don't know, it was just a little inspiration. Plus, I love the color green, too, so
yeah,
it just worked out.
We see your fight pictures in that, and you're wearing the green, so.
Oh, yeah, always. Got to represent.
You're representing the green at all times. Let me see. You're stating that you said your father helped you a little bit with the boxing and training a little bit of boxing and that. But looking at your amateur fights, you finished a lot of these in submissions. Is submissions one of the things you like to do, or would you actually like to stand up and bang? Because it says, what is retirement? TKO. Did she stop? Oh no, that. So you've won by submission, right? Mostly.
Yeah, all of my wins are by submission. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I like to stand up and bang it out. I think it's it's not fun about punching and kicking someone in the face, but I feel like it's more of a comfortability thing. I lost my very first fight to a submission, and I just hated the feeling of getting choked out. I mean, I didn't pass out, but I was forced to tap, and I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like feeling like I had to give up. I felt really inferior, I guess, so I worked on my wrestling really hard for a few years until my next fight was about a year and a half, 2 years, and got my first submission win, and then all my wins after that were by submission. So,
if you had to pick, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I don't have anything to say. I was waiting.
If you had to pick a fighter that you would not like to be your next opponent in Invicta, do you know who that would be?
That's actually a really hard question. I don't know. I mean, they usually pick pretty good matches for anyone. I feel like any of the atomweights would be a good opponent for me. Somebody, around the same record. I got my words twisted in the interview that I did after my first Invicta fight, where a journalist said that I had my eye on top 10 atomweight contenders like Nick Daly, Kalanick, and who else? I don't remember who else they said, but I was just like, no, not yet. I would like to fight, those girls eventually, but I'd like something more near my record. Like, I think possibly my next match might be against Jessica Phillips, just because she has the same record as me, and she's only had one fight for Invicta, so just, the way it works, that's kind of who I'm guessing, but, I'd like to fight Stephanie Frausto someday, just because she fought my coach, and, I don't know, I'd like to see her fight style in the cage.
That would be an interesting one. With the Invicta contract, is it a contract where you can't fight anywhere else? Are you just solidly signed for them for the 3 fights and cannot fight any other organization or any tournaments or anything like that?
I think I could do tournaments, but not other like televised events or fight promotions, I guess. But I had talked about doing a grappling tournament about a month or so ago, but I missed the registration. But it wouldn't have been, an issue to do something like that.
Okay. Because I know a lot of other organizations kind of just strictly want you to stay, kept with them and not doing anything else. Before we let you go, Cassie, and first of all, thank you very much for coming on the show. Is there any Twitter, or where can people find you, follow you, fan sites, or anything like that?
I do have a Twitter, and I have a Facebook, too. My Twitter account is CRobb the Hulk, and then my Facebook, I just have a personal one. It's just my name, Cassie Robb. I'm going to try and get a fan page one of these days, but I don't know how to do it, so I'll have to have somebody else show me.
You can ask me later. I'll go ahead and show you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
I need to get better with stuff like that, but it is what it is.
Thank you very much, Cassie, for letting us take your time. Anytime you want to come on the show, you're always welcome. You're actually our first female fighter on the show, so that's a big kudos right there. Do you have any shout-outs for anybody out there that you want to give right now?
I'd like to give a shout-out to my coach, Diana Rael. She's fighting on the Made for War show here on the 5th. That's pretty exciting. I'll be singing the national anthem for that show. I also want to give a shout-out to my fiancée, Stephanie Skinner, who's making her XFC debut April 19th against Angelica Chavez. Also to my sponsors, Cereal Box, Inksmith Tattoo, and Ground and Pound Mass Destruction MMA.
All right. Thank you very much, Cassie. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Cassie. Good luck in your next fight.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Cassie Robb, or Cassie the Hulk Robb, from Invicta. She's already kind of naming out who she wants to fight next, which is great. I mean, she looks focused and forward of going out in there and fighting. Big thanks for her to coming out, There's really not much to say. That was her whole interview. She was a great interview. We had fun with her. But you know what? Time is ticking, and we need to start doing our predictions. So let's go ahead and start this. Actually, let's talk about Invicta. Now that Cassie left, she's gone. Let's talk about Invicta 5, pay-per-view event. And for the people that don't know how to get this pay-per-view, you go to Ustream, ustream.com. Go to the Ustream. Then it's only, I think, $9 or $10 for this fight. What you're getting is awesome for $10. You're getting Jessica Penne versus Lisa Ellis. You're getting Liz Oh wait, that's an old fight. Let's go back. Invicta 5 has Jessica Penne versus Michelle Watterson for the Atomweight Championship. We have Barbara Hancock versus Vanessa Proto, and we have Cyborg. Wait, is it Christine Santos?
Yeah.
Christine Santos versus Fiona Muxlor, and Sarah Kaufman versus Leslie Smith. We also have Ziola Gurgel on this one with Jennifer Maya. We have Caitlin Young versus Lauren Taylor, Julia Budd versus Molly Estes, and Beck Hyatt versus Jasmika Sviv. So there we go. That's what you're going to get with this one. There's also some undercards. I think,
Casey Rodish versus Simona Sukupova. Jessimian Duke versus Miri Nakamoto. Natjia Campanapa versus Juliana Carneiro Lima. Jody Esquivel versus Alex Chambers. And Rose Namajunas versus Katia Katrin.
Multilinguistic Tercilio can just pronounce them with no effort. Kind of jealous.
Well, actually, I'm just reading them up now. I mean, it was kind of hard to read them up like that.
So you know what? Let's just go from the let's go from the Ziola Gurgel versus Jennifer Maya fight. Ben, have you seen Ziola Gurgel fight in Strikeforce before? Wait, is he here?
He said that his connection has just gone. Let's try to get him back on the show.
All right. What do you know about Ziola Gurgel?
Well, I know that she had 2 Strikeforce fights. She lost to Misha Tate by armbar, and she beat Alicia Heisper by decision on the first fight. And it wasn't on the huge Strikeforce platform. It was on the Strikeforce Challengers, where you remember where they would have it would be like the UFC Fight Nights. It would be like a smaller event for up and coming guys.
Yeah.
But she had already let me see. she had already 7 fights in Bellator, and she won six out of her last 7 fights.
Ben?
In Bellator.
I think we're having some issues with Ben's. Ladies and gentlemen, we had some technical difficulties, so we're going to do this pre-recording or recording, and we're going to put it together for you guys to enjoy later on. We were talking about Invicta, Invicta 5, which is a pay-per-view event. Like I stated, this pay-per-view event is not like your normal one you find on the TV. You go to Ustream.com, you can go ahead and buy the Ustream there, and then watch it fully screened from Ustream. And what happens with that is it helps Invicta a lot. I mean, if you guys want to continue supporting Invicta, this is going to be the best way for you guys to do so. And they pulled all the great fighters onto this one card. You have Ziola Gurgel that I think Tercilio said sees her winning this one. Interesting one is Sarah Kaufman versus Leslie Smith. I don't see Leslie Smith winning Sarah Kaufman. Sarah Kaufman's a freaking beast, and that's in a good way.
Yeah, and Sarah Kaufman is coming off a loss from Strikeforce, so I think she will try her best to win this fight. And obviously from Ronda Rousey, she obviously learned a lot from that fight. I think she will come in a beast in this fight.
Yeah, Christina Cyborg Santos versus Fiona Muxford. I believe a fighter by the name of Gomes was going to fight her first. She ended up pulling out, so we have this Australian fighting Christina Cyborg. Interesting fight. Christina Cyborg has more of a huge record and has more to losing this fight. I don't see her losing. I think this is going to be the redemption for Christina Cyborg.
Yeah, I don't know much about this new opponent because they don't have much stuff of her in the internet. But her last opponent, it was a really tough fighter. It was gonna be a heck of a fight because there were some footage of her fighting in a gym and actually beating up men, So it was gonna be a really tough fight. But I think this will obviously be a test for Cyborg because she's been out for over a year. She had a lot of controversies with steroids and I mean her TRT levels. So we don't know, but there was some footage that came out of her training, some ground and pound with Tito Ortiz, and it looked devastating. So let's see. I'm picking her this fight.
Yeah. Go ahead and take us to our next bout. I mean, we're just gonna briefly talk about these.
Well, I don't know much about the next fight. It's between Barb Honchak and Vanessa Porto. Barb is American and Vanessa is Brazilian. There's not much to say about this fight, but probably it's a toss-up. It can go either way.
Ben?
I don't know either of the fighters. I haven't really watched any Invicta, unfortunately, but I'm not sure.
All right, so let me see what the Invicta ones that we have. So the main event is Jessica Penne versus Michelle Waterson. They have an actual preview of the fight, and they have I guess what the countdown that they had for the UFC for this fight. Jessica Penne is the atomweight current champion versus Michelle Waterson. Jessica Penne looks like a freaking beast if you guys haven't seen her. She has all the skills of ground and pound and everything else. Michelle Waterson's more of a technical kickboxer. This is going to be an interesting fight. I think this is going to bring a lot of attention if they go for the full 5 minutes or the 5 rounds.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, they're both warriors. But Jessica Penne looks like she all around she has the better skills. So I will give the same prediction as Cassie did. I think it will go Jessica Penney by decision.
All right. So let's talk about UFC Fuel. You guys want to break them down from the featherweights?
From the main card,
the main card, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Ben, you want to go ahead?
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, I'll start off. So for the first bout on the main card, we've got a featherweight bout between Akira Kurosane and Robbie Peralta. Now, with this fight, for me, it comes down to sort of two strikers, but one striker being significantly better than the other. Akira Kurosane, he loves to bang. He has got good hands. He's got just really nice, sort of quite traditional style of boxing. But Robbie Peralta is a knockout artist. When it comes to them both standing up, they're both good strikers. But in my opinion, Robbie Peralta is a lot better. Coming off a huge knockout victory against another top striker, Jason Young, who's a great Muay Thai practitioner. And so to me, I think Robbie Peralta, I don't think he'll be able to knock out Akira Kurosane because Akira is a very, very tough guy and hard to knock out. So I think it'll be Robbie Peralta by decision, and I think he'll be able to tee up on Akira.
Yeah, I see it the same way. Akira is really tough but I think that he speaks more than he does in a cage. You know, when you saw him in the Ultimate Fighter, he used to do a lot of pranks, a lot of jokes and stuff. But in the cage, he didn't talk. He didn't fight the way that he talks. You know. But I think it's gonna be a very tough fight. And obviously, let me see. He's coming off a 10-fight. You can call it a 10-fight winning streak, Robbie Peralta, because his fight with Macken's Zemizer was a no contest. So other than that, the last time that he lost was in 2009. So you can call it a 10-fight winning streak. So I think he's gonna take this one. It's obviously Akira is gonna be hard to knock out, but you can never count Robbie Peralta out. And obviously you can never count Akira out. He obviously, as tough as he is, he will obviously always have a chance.
Yeah.
All right. So who do you get? Next ones will be Diego Alvarado versus Pablo Garza, or the Scarecrow.
Okay, so Diego Brandao versus Pablo Garza is a big. It's a small man versus tall man fight. Garza has got tremendous submissions. Well known for that sort of his flying submission triangle choke, I believe it was, and he plays the long fighter very well. He's a tall, lanky guy, and he does use his reach really effectively, and he does fight very tall. So I think it comes down to if Brandao can get inside and land his heavy hands that he has and find the knockout there. Brandao also has good submissions, so maybe he'll be able to defend Pablo Garza's submissions, but I'm not sure. I think Pablo Garza on the feet can stay away from Diego Brandao using his reach, and if the fight went to the floor, I think Garza's got the better submissions, though Diego Brandao does have hands like stone, and if he can get underneath and touch Pablo Garza's chin, I think that'll be a big knockout for Brandao. But anyway, I think I'm going to go Pablo Garza.
Well, basically every fight with Diego Brandao, I just don't see him losing the fight because the guy, his style of fighting, is second to none. So every time he comes out to fight, the guy is always looking for the knockout or for the. It's such a ferocious style of fighting that you only see in only a few fighters. So obviously Pablo Garza is a very tough fighter coming off a victory over Mark Hominick, but I think he will come up short in this one.
Oh, we have.
I'm picking Brandao on this one.
We have a split on that one.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm gonna have to go with Ben on this one. I'm gonna have to give it to Pablo Garza. He's like a lengthy fighter. Likes to stand up and bang. Likes to look for the submissions and everything else. I think he's gonna take the win on this one. This is my personal thought. So we have 2 for Pablo, Ben and I, and then we have Tercilio going for Diego. So
we should put money on it. So next we've got
no
bantamweight bout between. Yeah.
Brad Pickett versus Mike Easton. Who wants to break down this fight for us?
Yeah, you can go, Ben. Since Brad is from UK.
I got my British guy, Brad Pickett. Great fighter, got amazing hands. In the division, I think he's got some of the fastest and best sort of just boxing. Like, he is a pure boxer and he is very skilled with it. Also, what a lot of people remember is he has actually very good offensive wrestling. The fight against Demetrius Johnson a while back, he used his wrestling really well and was taking Demetrius Johnson down. He's coming off an unfortunate split decision loss against Eddie Wineland. Mike Easton is coming up really well, but also had a loss last against Rafael Sanzao. I don't want to be biased, but I think in the stand-up, sometimes Mike Easton, he sort of seems, he's a fast pace, but sometimes it doesn't seem like he has that much power. I think in the stand-up, boxing versus boxing, Brad Pickett definitely wins there. In the wrestling, I think Brad Pickett's definitely underrated with wrestling. I mean, all he really drills is boxing and takedown defense. That's all he goes for. So I personally think it's going to be such a close match. Both guys with very similar skills, but I think Brad Pickett's got this fight.
Yeah, I agree all the way. But I think that if it goes to the ground, probably if Brad Pitt is on the bottom, Brad Pickett, I mean, if he's on the bottom, he could probably lose the fight. But if he's on top, he has a lot of good ground and pound. But I think that Mike Easton, with his jiu-jitsu skills, will have an advantage on the ground. But I don't think Brad Pickett will let that happen. I think he will stand up and bang, keep the fight standing, and look for the knockout like he always does.
Yeah. So.
Hector, do you have any?
What happened?
I was just going to say, do you have any what's your prediction of that fight?
That's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with Brad Pickett on this one.
Hey.
Sorry.
Team UK.
Sorry. Here's an interesting one. Philip DeFries versus Matt Mitrione, or vice versa, Matt Mitrione versus Philip DeFries. Philip DeFries coming off that horrible KO that Todd Duffy gave to him on 155. And Matt Mitrione not looking good either, losing to Roy Nelson and Chet Congo back-to-back. Do you see a possible cut out of the UFC for the loser of this fight?
Definitely.
Yeah, well, I think this is much more dangerous for Mitrione losing, because as we all know, the UFC likes to try and keep its international fighters. But for Mitrione, I mean, they've got loads of sort of heavyweights in the same position as him. And I think if he loses this fight against Philip DeFries, that isn't sort of a massive name, I think that could be it for Mitrione.
Yeah, and the thing with Mitrione is that he only fought he never fought top guys, and then when he started fighting them, like you saw him with Chet Congo, he couldn't get off at any point. You know, obviously it was a very ugly fight. I mean, none of the fighters did much anything, but he couldn't get off at any point. You saw that he was scared. He was afraid of trading with him, or trying to take him to the ground. You can see that he's not on that level yet. So, and the thing that Dana White most says is that he said, you don't come to the UFC to learn how to fight. And Mitrione had his first professional fight in the UFC. It was the tough finale against Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones, obviously, he knocked Marcus Jones out in the opening bell in the 10 seconds of the first round. But obviously, you got to remember that Marcus Jones hadn't fought anyone with a name. Basically, you know, he would only fight guys in local Florida events. So it was not a fighter that had a lot of name. And obviously you saw in the Roy Nelson fight, he came out pretty exciting. But I mean, for the insiders, we obviously knew that Roy Nelson was on another level. So when the fight started, you could see that it was like a walk in the park for Roy Nelson. So I think the one that loses this fight, obviously it would be harder for Philip to get cut. Obviously because he's only lost it's not like he's on a 2-fight losing streak like Mitrione. He lost his last fight but beat Oil Thompson in his other fight. So if he loses to Matt Mitrione, I don't think he will be cut, and obviously because he's an international fighter. But I think for Matt Mitrione, if he loses, he will obviously get his walk paper out.
Yeah.
So who quickly do you think is going to win then?
I think that Mitrione will take this one.
Yeah, same. I think Philip DeFry is a submission specialist, but I think Matt Mitrione will be able to sort of. He's got a lot more on the line. I think he's going to come and fight his heart out. And Philip DeFranco, Philip DeFry's got has been knocked out a couple times now. So if Matt Mitrione can find his chin, I think he could be going out early.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I also give it to Matt Mitrione. I think he needs it more. Matt Mitrione, before this 2-fight losing streak, he was basically a KO or a TKO fighter. With Philip, he's going to have to be a little bit careful, but then he's kind of seen the game plan that Todd Duffy implemented. But then again, Todd Duffy is a freak of phenomenon just by the reach advantage and his height. So I see Mitrione. I might even go a little bit bold about this, but I might see him in a second-round TKO of Philip DeFry.
Uh-huh.
I think he's going to be trying to, first round they're going to test each other, test the water, and then after that, I think the leather's going to fly.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have Ross Pearson against Ryan Couture, making his UFC debut, and on the co-main event already. Look, it sounds strange.
Yeah, it sounds really strange. I mean, the last fight he had, I did not see him winning it, which is really weird. I gave the other fight, I forget. I gotta look real fast to see who he fought, but.
KJ
Nunes, there you go. And yeah, I did not see him winning that one at all. I gave that one to KJ Nunes. I thought it was a complete robbery. Not only did I disagree about it, but Mr. Dana White disagreed about it as well and saw KJ Nunes winning that fight.
Yeah, and the thing is that I also talked with Hector already. It was the thing that it also looks strange. Because recently his father, Randy Couture, had a lot of contracting issues with the UFC, and not recently. They recently had some also, but they don't have a good past with relations with the UFC. So, like I was telling Hector, I think that in this fight, it would be like a win or a big win or a big lose situation for Ryan. I mean, obviously, I think that it's not hard for the UFC to cut him if he loses this fight because because the thing is with the UFC is that when they don't have for example if they don't have a good pass with any other manager or something. Anyone that gets involved in the middle of them will have backlash from that. Even like from Cyborg, she never had anything with the UFC, and then Tito Ortiz gets in the middle. He doesn't have a good relationship with Dana White. He doesn't have a good path. And then look now at the situation the way it is, So just to start with, the UFC didn't let Randy Couture corner his own son in his fight. They didn't let him. it said Dana said that they requested that didn't happen. So that's not going to happen. But at the same time, Ross Pearson is kind of I don't know if he's looking past Ryan Couture, but he said in an interview that he thinks that Ryan Couture is not on his level and didn't deserve to fight him. But so if Ryan pulls the upset, it's a huge win for him because Ross Pearson he's a real veteran. The guy has about 10 or more fights in the UFC. He's fought a lot of big names, and the guy is for real. So it's a big win or lose situation for Ryan Couture. But I think Ross Pearson will come as the victor.
Oh, you're giving it to Go ahead, Ben. You're
quite quick.
Ben.
It's quite a quick one for me, really. Quite easy. I think Ross Pearson, I just can't see him losing anyway. Ryan Couture's been put in, we've mentioned, maybe not deserving to be straight into the co-main event. He's got that name on his back. Ross Pearson has been a main eventer and a co-main eventer before. He's been there, he's done it, and he's fought many guys just like Ryan Couture with the same skill set or, better and beaten them. So I think Ross Pearson's got this all the way. I think he beats him in all aspects of the game.
Yeah, Ross Pearson came off of a spectacular win and probably the best Stavropoulos versus Pearson. And I believe it was the UK version, right? Stavropoulos being from the is it?
Yeah, UK versus Australia.
Australia, yeah. Australia. And so they had a huge rivalry, and I think it was the best coaches versus coaches fight that we've seen, and a lot of the other ones end up being on pay-per-view. But you can see these two guys have hated each other from just being on that show, and they gave one hell of a performance. And in the third round, 41 seconds, Ross Pearson landed that, I think it was a right hook that ended George Stavropoulos' night and ended up having him on the floor. That kind of momentum, coming off of that momentum, with the Ryan Couture fight, I don't see Ross Pearson either losing this bout, and I think he's going to go out there and bang with him. I think Ryan's going to try to go for the double legs and really try to take this fight down to the floor before Pearson can actually do any damage. But I think Ross Pearson's going to be a little bit quicker than Ryan Couture.
Yeah, and the other thing about Ross Pearson is that if you see, we're not. I don't think he's like the really heavy favorite on this fight. Just because his last fight he lost a couple of them, 2 or 3 fights. But the thing is with him is that he went to featherweight, and he should have never done that. I mean, he is not, obviously he's not you can't call him big for lightweight, but he's a good size lightweight. Yeah. And for featherweight he obviously had to cut a lot of weight and lost the fights to Edson Barboza, to Junior Arsuncao, and he beat Junior Arsuncao by decision and got knocked out by Cub Swanson. And then he came back to lightweight, and now he's staying on lightweight to fight Ryan Couture.
Well, look at the fighters he's fought, though. I mean, none of these guys are easy fights. You have Cole Miller that he lost to, Edson Barboza, Cub Swanson. These 3 guys are vicious killers in that weight division. So
Dennis Seaver, man, that was an awesome fight against Dennis Seaver.
He came out a win though, but I'm just saying that with his losses, even to the people he lost, he didn't lose to like nobodies. He lost to some top ranking fighters. Yeah. So I don't see Ryan Couture gonna be it's not gonna be a walk in the park for Ryan Couture to try to win it. In fact, I see the other way. It's probably gonna be a little more of a walk in the park for Ross Pearson, and really just kind of look for an opening and try to just either, a lot of it, you've seen a lot of his fights, he might just be smart and tactical and just go out for the decision, but I don't think he wants to do that, especially he's in the UK. He wants to bring the bang, and I think he's going to try to look for a KO of Ryan Couture.
Yeah, he certainly will. And it's kind of a shame, though, his fight. Like, Ryan Couture is just going to be another win for him. If he does win this fight, I think he should. it's not really going to sort of mean a lot, and that's kind of a shame that he's not fighting one of the sort of the names like he's been fighting in the last few fights, because this fight's just kind of a stepping stone to the next sort of name that he'll actually get.
All right, and you know what? We're going to call this our main event because poor Gregard Mousasi, we already know who's going to win that. Unless Ben or Tercilio want to take a real left turn and give it to Latif, I don't see it no other way. I don't see the sledgehammer sledging out any win on this fight.
No, obviously it's like we call it a no-brainer. But if you see his physique, Ilir Latif, he's those kind of guys that they are short but they're really powerful. And he's a world-class wrestler from Sweden, from what I understand. So obviously there is that little 1% chance of him grinding out a decision. But with Gegard Mousasi, and given the experience that he has, the number of fights that he has, the number of top level fighters that he fought and he beat back in the days in Pride, even in Dream or Strikeforce, I think it's gonna be an easy fight for him.
I think Hector summed it up perfectly earlier on in the show. It's basically going to be like a sparring match. But the way I see it is Latifi, probably, like, even if Latifi's at his very best, I don't know if he would even be able to beat Mike Kyle that Mousasi beat last. And Latifi, yeah, he's going to go in and he's got nothing to lose, so he's going to go as hard as he can. But the only way he can possibly win this fight is by literally just coming out and landing a knockout straight off the bat. And Mousasi's a veteran. He knows sort of what to do. He hasn't been knocked out I don't think he ever has actually been knocked out. So, like, the only chance that Latifi has of winning, I think Mousasi's eliminated that. And I think it's just going to be a showcase of Mousasi's skills, if anything.
Yeah, Mousasi never got knocked out. His losses were 2 by submission and 1 by decision, and he has 2 draws.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way I see Mousasi losing, and I'm going to call it the Overeem syndrome, is that if he overlooks his opponent and really doesn't think about training anymore and really doesn't think of his opponent as a real opponent, that might be the issue. But I don't see Mousasi doing that. I think he's going to take him as if he was fighting Gustafsson, and he's going to take that same implementation towards that fight, and so we're going to expect something big out of Mousasi. We're going to expect a spectacular show from him, but eventually, unfortunately, it's going to be under a subpar fighter.
Overall, it's a shame that the main event against Gustafsson's gone, but I'm going to really enjoy this card. And even sort of on the undercard, we've got some names that I'm looking forward to seeing. Yeah. And it's just a shame we couldn't have a more competitive light heavyweight bout. But overall, I still think it will be a fun card and a showcase of some European talent.
Yeah, so there you go. That's our predictions. We're going to end our night of fights. Unfortunately, this is the second half that we had to record after the thing. And so we going to say good night. This is Hector from Hanford, California for Real Combat Media with...
My name is Tercilio from João Pessoa, Brazil. And you can find me on Facebook at Tercilio Cruz, Instagram, Twitter. And I would like to give a shout out to all my friends that are listening here in João Pessoa from Chamana Pepeta, and everyone that listening all around the world. We really appreciate it, guys.
Ben Capocci from Battle UK. I just wanted to say again, so thank you so much to Real Combat Media for for having me on here talking about what I love, and I think it's just going to be a great show. We're getting better every time, and this show's got some great things. We're getting better interviews every time, and I can never wait for the next week.
All right, everybody check out Real Combat Media at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, our sponsors for the show was Onnit, ONNIT. go to onnit.com. It's ONNIT.com. Check out Alpha Brain. Check out Shroom Tech. What I forgot to say is you guys buy these products. When you check out, put the promo code Real Combat Media. You'll save 10% off. Also, thanks to Training Mass for sponsoring us. And go ahead and check out my podcast and my website at www.screamingrebels.com. This Sunday, we have a new show. We'll have a punk band by the name of Basura, which in Spanish means trash. And we're going to be talking about reform of immigration. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then we're back with Real Combat Media back on Tuesday at realcombatmedia.com. Or you can find us on the Blog Talk. And I always send out a link. So if you want to know, go to friend us at Real Combat Media MMA Radio. And I'll send you guys a personal invite. And that way you can get the live version. And you will be invited to it, and you can give us a phone call as well. Thanks again. Everybody have a wonderful night and a good morning at the UK. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for listening.